Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Welcome back to r/entitled people. Where in today's episode, you're going to hear 3 super entitled stories. The first one, a Karen brags about her son's Ivy League education, which is absolutely crazy. The second story, a mother demands her kid's birthday money. And we'll finish off with a story about a couple accusing OP of Satanism, which is always fun. It's always fun to have people accuse you of Satanism. My friends, I hope you enjoy the stories today, and do hit that subscribe button for future Entitled People stories. Let's dive in. So, for some context, I'm in beauty school and we're required to wear all black since we work with clients, basically as training for our future careers. As part of it, I usually wear a small black apron, because otherwise all of my clothes would be caked in acrylic and nail polish. However, I blanked the other morning and forgot it. And as a result, I look like I rolled around in paint and chrome powder. Whatever. They are old jeans. On my way home, I realized I ran out of face primer and stopped by at the Ulta, which is a beauty supply store, where the employees also wear all black. Now, I'm a regular there, basically first name basis at this point, so they all say hi to me when I come in. One of them started to talk to me, asking how school's going, etc., and I get this weird feeling of being watched. Behind the employee is a lady who looks like a typical Karen, just staring at us. I whisper to her that the lady behind her might need some help, so I step out of the way. Karen begins talking and says, "So, I'm looking for a..." She pauses, and then looks me up and down and says, "You are filthy. Have some pride in your appearance when you work." I told her, I know, I forgot my apron, and it's one of those days. Good thing I don't work here, hey?" Karen responds, "Excuse me? Where's your manager? How did you even come to work like this?" It's one thing to look like an absolute slob in the workplace, but it's another thing to lie to a customer's face to get out of trouble. I spend hundreds in the store, you know. I told her that this is my uniform for beauty college. We're required to wear all black. I'm training to be a nail tech, hence I'm covered in neon powders. I'm sure you can smell the monomer on my clothes. Karen then says, "I heard everybody say hello to you by first name. How else would they know you unless you worked here?" I told her because I shop here a lot and my name pops up when I put in my Ulta card. Karen says, "Where's your manager? I'm done with your poor customer service and sarcasm." I'm thinking, oh my god. I reach into my tote bag and pulled out my badge lanyard and show her, covering up the name of the company with my thumb, of course. I told her, "This is my actual job, ma'am." She looks at the badge, which has my face on it, my name, and says in very large letters on the bottom, "Pharmacy Assistant/Client Relations." Important note here, this position is the lowest on the pharmacy totem pole, lower than Pharmacy Technician. Karen then responds, "Well, you don't need to be rude about it. And who gives up a job as a pharmacist to be a nail technician? You need to reevaluate your life. Your parents must be so disappointed. I'm sure they thought they raised somebody smart. My son is at an Ivy League school, studying to be a pharmacist, and he would not be welcome in my house if he made such an idiotic decision to throw his life away like that and do nails." So at this point, I just look at her and say, "Oh, well, my sister got accepted to that school, and specifically chose a different Ivy League school, because the one your son goes to has never had a pharmacy program, ever." And apparently this set her off, because I can't even remember what she said at this point, because she went ballistic, screaming every obscenity in the book and calling me a liar, etc. At this point, the poor employee I'd been talking to hasn't made a peep, and the manager and security guard had come over to see what all the commotion was about. I'm pretty sure I watched the manager die a little inside when she saw who it was who was making a scene, and very quickly started to usher her in the other direction. I said to the other employee, "Man, is she always like this?" And the employee says, "Yeah, she comes in like once a week and always goes crazy because of some coupon or pricing issue." She apologized, and I told her no worries, it's best not to provoke her. After all, her son is so special he's getting a pharmacy degree from a school that doesn't even offer it. Oof. I love how OP called her out on that lie, about her son studying pharmacy at a school that doesn't even offer it. That was really uncalled for though. There was really no need to talk down to OP about her life choices. All that matters is you do what makes you happy, guys. Entitled people care too much about prestige. If OP wants to do nails, you go do nails, OP. Leave pharmacy to somebody else. I love this comment right here. This person says, "It sounds to me like her own son is lying to her about what he's doing because he's ashamed of her. I'm sorry to all the children who's ever had to deal with this kind of horrible parent." This happened about a year and a half ago while I was hanging out at my cousin's house. My cousin's birthday had recently passed, meaning she had a decent amount of money that our entire family had given her. In our family, it's really common to just give your relatives money and a card once we pass the age of like 12. Full-on gifts aren't really given much anymore. Anyway, my aunt stopped going to work because she claimed to have medical issues. What were those medical issues? Oh, she was just being a raging alcoholic, that's all. This meant that she didn't have a lot of money to spend. So of course she does the only logical thing that a crappy parent does. So my cousin and I were sitting in her room playing video games when we hear her mom shouting at her. She says, "Casey, come here." Casey tells her to hang on. Me and OP are finishing our game. My aunt comes storming into my cousin's bedroom, clearly a bit intoxicated, and she says, "I told you to get out here. That wasn't a request, that was an order." My cousin says, "I'm sorry, we can't just pause the game." Of course I'm trying to be quiet, as it's not my business when my aunt and my cousin argue. My aunt then says, "Where's your birthday money? That money that everybody gave you during your birthday party." My cousin asked, "Why?" And she says, "I need some." "But why do you need my money?" I remember my aunt getting mad and said, "Casey, where's the money? I'm not asking again. Tell me where it is right now." My cousin tells her, "I'll tell you where it is when you tell me why you need it." My aunt then goes, "It's none of your concern what I need the money for." My cousin then tells her, "It's my money. I deserve to know what you're buying with it." She says, "Fine. I need some goddamn cigarettes and beer. Happy?" So my cousin goes on to tell her that she's not giving her money to buy cigarettes. And my aunt loses it. She says, "Casey, I'm your mother. Your money is my money. Now where is it?" My cousin still isn't paying attention to my aunt, but I can clearly tell that she's nervous. My aunt never hesitates to give her a smack as a punishment. She says, "Mom, it's mine. It's my birthday money and I'm not giving it to you." This pissed off my aunt to no end. She walks over to my cousin, gets right in her face, and slaps her. Not super hard, but my cousin cries out in pain and I remember being so terrified in that moment. And she says, "Now where the hell is your birthday money?" My cousin continued to refuse to tell her. She knew that the mom would take it if she knew where it was. And Casey says, "I'm not giving it to you. It's my money from my birthday." Who the hell do you think you're yelling at? This is my house. As long as you live in my house, all the money in it is mine too. So she then slaps my cousin again. My cousin gets off the floor and runs to the bathroom. I was just sitting there silent the entire time. I just wanted to play some Call of Duty with my cousin. I didn't know what the hell to do. It was so scary. My aunt did not even address my existence. Instead, she just storms out of my cousin's room and went to go shake the money out of my younger cousin's piggy bank. She took his money and went to the store to get the cigarettes. There's no real happy ending here. There's no instant karma for my aunt. And unfortunately, she did get her cigarettes. And my cousin just ended up with 2 pretty decent smacks. So yeah, my aunt's a psycho, but don't worry. Karma eventually caught up to her, but we can save that story for another time. Guys, a lot of people in the comment section are saying to report the mother to CPS. What a terrifying situation to be in, guys. I feel so bad for OP's cousins to have to deal with that mom on a regular basis. Guys, I would never ever think of taking money from an 8-year-old, let alone for smokes or beers. And that part where she pulls the "you live in my house so all your money belongs to me" is absolutely ridiculous. So I read a similar story a while back where OP's parents take her hard-earned money to go buy designer clothing and pretty much pulled the same stunt. "You live in this house, you should help us out by buying us nice clothes." Come on, parents. That's not how it works. So about 2 years ago, I worked as a hostess at a family-style tap house during the summer months. The location was downtown near the mall and a few of my friends' houses, so I would often change clothes after work and walk downtown. I was sometimes sent home due to it not being very busy, and today was one of those days. I threw on some jean shorts and a tube top with a light flannel that I'd packed for the event that I was let out early enough to hang with friends. Some of my friends were hanging a few blocks away at a comic book shop, close enough that I could walk. After signing out, I said goodbye to my coworkers and set off. The tube top did not show a lot of my chest, but enough to show that I had a fair amount of scars. My breast also caused them to warp a bit and caused them to be a bit more noticeable. I didn't care, and by this time I was rather proud of them. So when people asked about them, I was able to tell them what happened and seemed like a normal human person. In an earlier post on the sub, I explained that I had a lot of scars all over my chest area. the biggest one looking like an upside-down cross in the middle of my chest and close to my stomach. This was due to congenital heart disease and congenital diaphragmatic hernias. I needed to undergo surgeries when I was little to fix it. As I was walking downtown, I got a text from one of my friends from the comic book shop that said I should definitely bring them some food and they would pay me back. It was pretty standard lazy teen stuff, so I agreed and went to the nearest convenience store on the way. I walked in and went to the snack food aisle and started to pick out chips and pop and such. As I was headed down the candy section, a family of 3 walks in. A mom, a dad, and a little kid who was about 6 years old. I heard the small kid crying about something, but other than that, I didn't pay much mind to them. I was picking out candy to give to my friends because I was feeling generous. I was getting paid that weekend, and I wanted to be nice. I squatted to look at other candies when the little kid comes waddling down the aisle looking at the sweets. He ran up to me laughing and put his hand out for the candy that I was holding, and I gave it to him, knowing I could just get another. He was really happy and then noticed the scars on my upper chest and then pointed in a curious way. I adjusted my tube top a bit just in case, and the kid asked, "What's that on your chest?" I smiled and told him that I was sick, but now I'm all better. It was what I told kids I knew probably would not understand medical jargon. The kid seemed satisfied with that response and ran off with the candy I gave him. I had gotten my candy and went to the checkout with my goods to pay. I had my stuff set on the table when I glanced and saw the little kid talking with his parents near the entrance to the store. At first, I thought the mom was going to be mad about the candy, but she didn't seem to care, and I thought I was all good. The mom and dad then start to look concerned and then angry. I had no idea what the little kid was saying, and then the dad whipped his head around to look at me. I had no clue what was going on, and then the little kid pointed to his chest and my heart dropped into my stomach. The parents looked pretty ticked off, and the dad was staring daggers into me, and I pretended not to notice. I could tell that they were looking at my chest now, as I was used to the feeling and it didn't bother me as much, but I knew something was about to happen. Sure enough, as I had collected my bags, I felt a sharp tap on my shoulder, and I turned around to find both the mom and dad looking at me with irritated looks, which immediately put me on the defensive side. I didn't say anything, I just looked at them, waiting for whatever was coming. This apparently was not a good idea. The mom slowly looked down at my chest and then back to my face, and I let her look. I was used to looks like this, and I didn't care at this point. The mom did not like that and said, "So you think it's cool promoting this kind of lifestyle?" I'll admit, that threw me for a loop. Not really knowing how to respond, I said, "Sorry, what?" The dad then says, "You know damn well what. People like you are gonna go to hell. The fact that you think it's okay to tell kids about this is so disturbing." Now, I was honestly hurt, and I had no idea why I was even hurt. I knew they were talking about my scars, but I didn't know they were so offended. I then hesitantly asked them, "Are you talking about my surgical scars?" This caused the dad to look like he was having a stroke. He got up close to my face and said, "You think that I look like an idiot, don't you? Quit spreading your Satanist propaganda BS around my son." I quickly stepped back as he said this, and realization clicked. They thought that my scars were a cult thing. Oh my god. I then realized that it looks like an upside-down cross. And for some reason, I had the desire to play along and the desire to laugh, but I kindly explained to them that they were from heart problems in the past and tried to give them a summary of my history. They didn't believe me, and this only got them more pissed off. The mom started spouting off about lying and being disrespectful, and at this point, I was really irritated for being yelled at and told them that I was gonna leave and they were seriously messed up. And then, the dad told me that he was gonna call the police for harassment and endangerment to his son. Now, I really did not want that, so I took out my card that I carried around just in case paramedics found me, so they would know my conditions, and I showed it to the parents. They looked at it for maybe 4 seconds and then went quiet. Now, the mother looked really embarrassed and turned red, but the dad did not look convinced. He said that I was lying and that medicine would not leave anybody looking so messed up and ugly, and that I needed to leave before I caused any more damage to his family. I told him I was sorry that my medical history inconvenienced them in the most mock customer service voice I could, and I walked out the door, but not before the dad yelled curses and called me a witch and that I was going to hell. I walked with my jacket off the rest of the way to the comic shop, and my friends and I still laugh about it sometimes. Hey man, in situations like this, you gotta learn to laugh it off. I feel like the dad didn't want to admit fault and just doubled down on the whole Satanist propaganda thing and just ended up looking super stupid. Are people really like this, guys? Sometimes I read these stories and I'm like, no way in heck this can ever happen. And then I get comments from you guys down below that say stuff like this definitely happens, so I'm just glad I've never run into any crazy entitled people. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our / entitled people. Guys, if you've missed yesterday's episode, it's a wild one. An entitled mother demands a hospital release her daughter's medical records because she's in denial of her daughter having sex. And oh yeah, her daughter's a full-grown adult. Check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you. I really do.